What is up, y'all? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, and I'm showcasing y'all a deck that is so lit. This build is so similar to my Mage Spectre Paleozoic deck. Y'all be sure to check that out. It's one of a kind. It's the only one you'll see on YouTube. So I decided to re-innovate my Paleos, or renovate, and it's also innovative, of course, my Paleozoic deck. Now, you guys have seen a couple builds, quite a few actually, of my Paleozoics, you know, the 60 card Paleo, ABC Paleozoics, focusing on spamming Buster, and also totally awesome, you know, via Grass Looks Greener and card milling, and Paleozoic Shaddolls. I just wanted to have Winda and Traps. So you've seen a bunch of variations actually, and even, you know, this is one of my variations on Paleo artifacts. I decided to incorporate the artifact engine just because links are going to be dominant, Firewall Dragon is going to be a thing. But I really was sitting here thinking to myself, as I was doing all these Paleos builds, and I realized I've only been running like 10 Paleozoic traps. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to run all of them because they're all good and they're all fodder. Once I have a Paleo trap, I have a free monster to come back. And Paleos have such high ceiling this format, I don't care about the True Draco argument. It's so easy to play around True Dracos with this deck, even if Masterpiece is unaffected, right? If he's unaffected by monsters and traps, you know what you can literally do? You can Cat Shark, you're totally awesome, and put him at 4,400 and attack over him anyways. It's not even a problem. But Paleozoics have such a high ceiling in this format because their monsters have protection. Every single trap is unaffected by monster effects, and all the Paleo Exceeds are unaffected by monster effects. And if you go into totally awesome, he protects himself by himself. So this deck has such high ceiling. It's an incredible playstyle, and it's so unorthodox. It is different. Cards that are not in this build, before you get, you know, sad or disappointed, I don't run strikes and I don't run dimensional bears. As you see, I do have the cards and I could run them if I want to. I am choosing to run a pure Paleozoic deck in this, as pure as I can get it. The only twist would be the artifacts, but it's Paleos in their purest form. Reason being is because once you get this Opabenia, oh, it's like it's over. I'm going to explain it more further. Let's hop into this deck profile. I'm too excited and I feel like I'm talking too much right now. Let's do this. I'm going to explain everything as we get into it, but you guys are going to find out that this is how you should have been playing Paleozoics from the beginning. I feel like every Paleozoic player that calls herself a veteran has been sleeping on this because nobody's ever tried this before. So now I'm the new veteran, boy. What you talking about? But every pro Paleo player that feels like they know Paleo so well, so good, why haven't you ran your deck like this? Why haven't you run it how 3 Stacks is running it? I'm going to show you guys. First, for monsters, we're playing 3 copies of Grim Reaper. This is the no Firewall Dragon, no World Chalice, no Links. The only deck that does not spam from his extra deck is True Dracos. That is not the only deck in the world. So please don't tell me, oh, fam, oh, that side is no good against True Dracos. Side it out. And also the Sanctum is going to be clutch in your True Draco matchup because they're going to tribute that Disciples or that Heritage and pop your Sanctum, and Sanctum's going to react to destroy one of their cards, for example, their Diagram, and you'll still chain it and get a free monster off of it. So what are you talking about? Sanctum is more live in the True Draco matchup because they're going to trigger its actual effect when it's destroyed to destroy one of their cards. So anyways, eliminating that True Draco argument, 3 Grim Reapers, 3 copies of my Swap Frog, which I actually call this guy Ernesto. I wanted to name him Esteban after my pet turtle, but I just feel like Esteban is not a frog. So I named this guy Ernesto. And this next guy coming up, I've actually nicknamed him Danny Boy. So we have Ernesto and Danny Boy. And of course, 2 copies of Roni Homies. So we're running the standard frog lineup. I know I have the Super Ronis and I have common swaps and like two common dupes. I really don't care about the rarity of my frogs because Paleozoics are all commons. And I feel like if I can't go all holos, like if my deck can't be 100% super or just 0 commons, then there's no point to, you know, try to go max rarity because it'd be impossible. You could have ulti swap frogs and common traps. I just didn't want to do it. So I don't care about the rarity of my frogs. I just care about the frogs themselves, that they're here. So that sums up the monsters. I really don't need to explain the frogs. They just do what they do. And they just make totally awesome, amazing, and more awesome than he already is. Now the traps. We're going to start off with the standard Paleos that everybody is familiar with. 3 dinos. For your True Draco matchup, you're going to be using this most of the time to banish their trap or banish their spell so it doesn't go off in grave. And this overall is just such a powerful trap. The spot on removal without destroying is just so clutch. Banish any face-up card, banishing diagrams, especially because pure True Dracos run desires, right? Let's say, for example, they pot a desired and banish 2 of their Dragonic diagrams. They activate their final copy. If you banish it, they are never diagramming for that duel. And even so, you can search all 3 of these Dinomisiuses. So potentially in a duel, you can actually banish all 3 diagrams with your Dinomisiuses, which is really cool. So you just get that stuff out of here. And even banishing, for example, your opponent enters into battle phase with Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. You chain in battle phase, obviously because of Miscellaneous Source. Banish the Conductor Tyranno. Get rid of him completely. And you don't ever have to worry about them trying to recur him or anything like that. Dinomisius is just so clutch. Spot on removal is amazing. Any face-up card, which is why it's broken. 3 copies of Canadia, which is the theme Book of Moon. 3 copies of Olenoids, which is the theme MST. Now, because True Dracos, their spells and traps most of the time are face up, I use Dinomisius and Olenoids in equal terms. So I can use Olenoids to destroy the diagram and use Dinomisius to banish the Heritage or the Disciples or the Return or the Apocalypse. So Dinomisius and Olenoids kind of work the same way in the True Draco matchup. I'm hardly ever going to use Dinomisius on their monsters because they can like chain, return, tribute the monster anyways. I'll miss my target and summon Masterpiece. So I like to just hit their back rows with Olenoids and Dinomisius. So these 9 Paleos are actually the standard ones. Most Paleo players will run 9 of these 9, and then like 2 Moreas, and then like, where's the banished one? Lee and Kaya, the one that returns from the banished zone. I'm doing something completely different. Next up, so this is all for removal. So I'm going to get rid of these because these 9 Paleos are literally just for spot on removal. So these are basically when your opponent has something to get rid of, which these tend to be, for me, this was a problem I ran into. I sometimes need something to either book or something to banish or something to pop to activate these. And these rely on your opponent. So you're actually totally reliant on your opponent's cards in order to activate these. And let's say that you have Canadia or Dinomisius and your opponent has a monster that cannot be targeted. Guess what? You can't activate these traps at all. So they'll be dead in your back row. And you're trying to chain a trap from grave, but you absolutely cannot. I know that Masterpiece can disrupt your chains during either player's turn if you try to chain trap. I know he can do it, but he can only do it once per turn. That eliminates that argument. But anyways, I've had that problem playing Paleos where you're so reliant on your opponent's monsters or your opponent's back rows that if he doesn't have something that you can target, you can't activate these. So these 9, the most, popular and arguably the most important Paleos actually tend to be dead in certain matchups, especially if Masterpiece, for example, is unaffected by traps. You can't book him and you can't banish him, so you can't actually activate these. So what I wanted to do was make this Paleozoic turbo style, meaning my main focus of this deck is getting Opalbinia on the board and playing all my traps from hand. And the ultimate setup, and we do run link monsters in this so that you can get this setup so that you can actually control more than one. The ultimate setup is to have Opalbinia and Alamalacaris playing your traps from hand and then drawing a card off of him and drawing another trap and playing that trap because it's a Paleo. So it's basically like activate Dinomisius, chain trap, Alamalacaris, draw Canadia, activate Canadia because it's a Paleozoic, and Opalbinia lets you play from your hand. If you get what I'm saying, this setup is ultimate. So that's the main thing, that's the main playstyle of this deck. It's just trying to do that. So that is the reason why I'm playing these Paleos that I'm about to show you. I'm playing 3 copies of Pikaia, the draw power. And you run actually 23 Paleozoics in this deck, so more than half of your deck is targets for Pikaia. It's always live. Pikaia is actually my favorite Paleo because when you have Opalbinia, it literally becomes, not only is it a pot of greed, but it draws into more Paleozoics so that you can keep playing them from your hand and keep turboing, spamming. This deck goes ham. Like, it's a trap-based deck, but it goes so special summon heavy, so turbo when you have Opalbinia, and you have to play a lot of Paleozoics for Opalbinia to maximize on the value of that card. So 3 Pikaia, 3 Maria. Now, what's unique about these traps is you don't need your opponent's anything. You can play these on your turn, and it doesn't even have to be like your opponent doesn't have a card to target. These don't rely on your opponent. So I just like that I'm not fully relying on my opponent to get my field presence or to just chain a trap. So Maria is like free. You don't need anything. You could just play it, chain trap, Foolish Burial, another one. Most of the time I use Maria to actually send another Paleo. In fact, I do it all the time because I'm not running Lost Wind, just at the offset chance that I run into True Dracos and I can't Lost Wind anything. So no Lost Wind for this build, but 3 Pikaia, 3 Maria. I'm also playing this one. No Paleozoic player freaking runs this, and I think that it's so freaking clutch. Hallucigenia. It can be activated in the damage step because it actually halves the attack, so it does increase or decreases on what you can activate in the damage step. So you can actually chain Hallucigenia from your hand, surprise somebody with the Hallucigenia from your hand in the damage step, and your opponent tries to attack over this, for example, and then they're going to take a lot of damage. Or you can just chain it in the damage step to get rid of something. And naturally, because you're activating this in the damage step, it makes it more difficult for your opponent to respond because you can only activate an increase, a decrease, or a negate in the damage step. So it's like, it's even more clutch, and it's harder for your opponent to make your stuff miss timing also. Because in the damage step, when you activate this, Masterpiece can't chain his effect. So for example, if you activate this in Chain Trap, right? They're going to be like, oh, Chain Masterpiece effect, so your trap doesn't come from the grave. Bro, it's in damage step. You can't activate Masterpiece right now. So Hallucigenia is broken. He's more broken because he says target one face-up monster. So what I love to do, and I call this riding on traps. It's a thing I just made up myself. So let's say, for example, I have a Pikaia that I summoned from the graveyard. I can activate Hallucigenia, target my Pikaia. Because remember, you don't want to totally rely on your opponent's monsters. Sometimes your opponent has no monsters, right? And you want to activate your traps. You can activate Hallucigenia. That's why I feel like this is more versatile than the other three that I showed you. The standard 9, you know, for removal. You can activate this, target a Paleo, because it is a monster. Half its attack, Chain Trap. You're literally just playing this, and you're riding on this one guy. I'm going to show you guys even further. So 3 Hallucigenias, and also 3 Eldinas. Eldanias. This also helps me to attack over Masterpiece or to just attack over huge monsters that Paleos naturally couldn't. Now, Hallucigenia, Eldina, and also Cat Shark have a really, really broken OTK combo with the Daigusto Phoenix, because you can half your opponent's monsters with Hallucigenia and then activate Eldina to give Daigusto Phoenix a 500 boost, putting him at 2,000. Detach for his effects so he can attack twice, then use Cat Shark, double him, putting him at 4,000, and he can attack 4,000 twice. So it can be an OTK if your opponent just doesn't have anything, and that way you wouldn't even need Hallucigenia. But I just love how these effects just go overwhelming, and they kind of just set you up for the OTK perfectly. But I'm playing Eldina. Most people would say that this is bad. People even say that Hallucigenia is bad. And I argue with you and say, no, it's not bad. You have to play Paleozoics just the way they're meant to play, which was playing all of them, in my opinion. Now, this has never been done, so obviously people are going to throw some hate comments and say, this is trash, why are you running these? Let me explain to you. So, Hallucigenia, you can use it on your Paleos. So, as I was explaining, riding on Paleos, this lets you target any monster on the field. Now, if your opponent has a Dark Destroyer or any Cosmo big ship that can't be targeted, right? Chain Trap, summon Pikaia from grave. From hand, because you're going to have Opabinia always. From hand, activate this, right? Activate Hallucigenia, target Pikaia, Chain Trap, special from grave. From hand, activate Eldina, target this, Chain Trap from grave. So what these let you do is actually chain your traps and spam from your graveyard without relying on your opponent's monster, especially if your opponent's monster could not be targeted to begin with. You could never activate these. So I just love that Eldina and also Hallucigenia are more versatile than Canadia or Dinomisius or Olenoids, because you don't have to use it on your opponent's cards. You can use it on anything, including your own monster, which most of the time I will use a Paleozoic on a Paleozoic. It's funny, but it really does work. You can use Eldina on Hallucigenia when it's a monster, which is really cool. I hope I'm explaining this right. Please get my theory. It's not even a theory. Just please understand where I'm coming from with this deck and why I run it the way I run. It's not even a theory. It's a proven fact that it works. It's a proven fact. I'll show you a dual video with this deck too if you think I'm lying. Lastly, the only Paleozoic that I'm not running it at 3 is as actually Leonkaya, because it tends to brick if you run it at 3. If you draw this going first, you don't have anything banished yet, and it will take a while for you either to get a Roni Homie play, Ronin Tonin, or just for a Paleozoic to get banished by its own effect. So I play this at 2 because it's the least live. But I actually play every other Paleozoic that exists at 3. There's no other Paleozoics that you can run because I run every single one in this deck. So that sums up the main portion of the deck, the actual Paleozoics. Sometimes you will have no monsters, right? And you'll end with the field with 5 Paleozoics because you open all Paleos, which is really broken. And Opabinia helps you to do that. So I feel that Opabinia is definitely the MVP and the main star of this deck, because you're playing so many Paleos. And the fact that you can keep them in your hand and play them from your hand. That way you don't have to worry about Cosmic Cyclones, Draco Heritage, Draco Disciples, Twin Twisters. Twin Twisters kills this deck. Keep them in your hand. Play them from your hand, and your opponent can never touch your back row because you have no back row. It's really lit. But yeah, anyways, moving forward to the non-paleo traps, we are playing 3 copies of Artifact Sanctum. You activate this, chain a trap, get 2 monsters out for free, and stun your opponent. No Link summoning at all, no Mrs. Radiant, no World Chalice, the new Link archetype that came out. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. That deck is pure Links, and that's pure extra deck. So that means pure no Yu-Gi-Oh when you activate Sanctum. 3 copies of Reckless, because it's broken and it's free. You play this, chain trap, get a free plus. Sometimes it's a +3 if you have your Alamala on the field, because you activate this, chain trap, draw 2 cards, and then draw a 3rd off of him, and it's going to be a trap, so you're going to keep it. So you draw 3 off of Reckless if you have Alamala on the field, which is why I really just love the Paleos themselves. Like, the Paleozoics are just so broken. I also have a playset of the Legacy of Yatagarasu, the trap. I'm thinking about playing it in this deck just because it's a free trap to play. But the next part of the deck, which is the most important part aside from the Paleozoics, is the cock blockers. I don't play any mirror forces also. That's another thing that will throw you guys off and have you saying this deck is trash. No solemn strikes, no D-barriers, no mirror forces, no pot of desires, no demise, no duality. What are you doing? What are you doing? No desires, no demise. What are you doing? Oh, bro. Instead of mirror forces, I play 3 Wabakus and double threatening roar. Now, pure Paleos, they tend to play Wabaku anyways, but these are basically my replacements for the mirror forces. I chose these over mirror forces because I don't need to rely on my opponent to activate them. That is the main message I want to get across you guys with this deck profile, is I'm playing pure Paleo Turbo, where I don't need any. It's basically all gas, no brakes. I don't need to wait for anybody. I don't need to wait for stuff to happen. I can do it myself. I like threatening roar and Wabaku because even if your opponent's not attacking, you can play these. Chain trap. And what happens now is your Paleozoics are unaffected by monsters and they can't be destroyed by battle. So you're going to have to Dark Hole or Raigeki me. Or of course, what's it called? The True Dracos are going to have to use that one trap, Return or even Return or Apocalypse to pop this. But the problem is, once they activate that trap, I'm going to chain another trap. And then when they destroy it to go to gray and they target one and destroy it, I still get to keep the one that I got from them by activating the return. Because most of the time they're going to use return's effect to tribute summon on my turn. So they're going to tribute it, but they have to activate it first to activate its effect to tribute summon in my main phase. So that's why I love Wabaku and Threatening Roar, because it basically says I'm going to get this turn off. I'm going to keep my Paleos and I'm going off next turn. Like you chain trap, let's say, you have 3 Paleos, right? Like this could be 3 Eldinas. You chain Threatening Roar, chain another trap, you have 4 Paleos. You just sit and wait that turn. Next turn, you're going ham. All you need is just 1 Opabinia. So you literally just need 2 Paleozoics and you're good to go. So that's the main deck. Funny thing, like I told you guys, before you drop those hate comments, I'm not running strikes, deep barriers, or warning for a reason. Strikes are counter traps, so it really does not help the playstyle that I'm trying to get at with this deck. And deep barrier, most of the time, it'll just be something to play and call call something random, chain trap, because most of it's going to be links. The only thing this is going to really be good against is Zodiacs. And even so, most Zodiac variants are true Dracos now. So if you call deep barrier, you're not going to stop them. They're still going to be able to go off. This is becoming more of a side deck staple now, especially because you can't call Link, no Link summon. You can't do it. So this would be just a free trap just to activate, but that's what the Paleos do anyways. So those are my reasons for not playing Deep Barrier and Strike in this build in particular. I know every other Paleozoic deck profile literally plays these traps, but remember, this is Team King of Games. I'm 3 stacks. I don't do stuff that everybody does. I do stuff so unorthodox and different that nobody could ever copy my style and say that they did it, because you already know that there's only one person that does these things this way, which is me. Moving forward to the extra deck, we are obviously playing 3 copies of Toad. He's just broken. And he dodged so many ban lists. I feel like he's just so OP, man. He's such a clutch negator because he just sets it. I know that Link monsters can't be set in defense, so you can't actually negate a Link monster's effect ever with Toad if you're going to set it. You can negate it, but if you're planning on setting it, you can't do it. So just negate it and just destroy it and leave it alone, because you can't set them. But anyways, you can negate Link monsters' effects. You just can't set it. That's what I really meant to say. But anyways, he just steals cards, basically. Like, I don't notice how I don't run Carter Demise I don't run Pot of Desires, and I don't run Dualities, right? I can take those. I can like chain, like for example, they play Pot of Desires. I can use my Toad to steal it. And it's just like so retarded what he can steal. The cards that I don't run in my deck, Toad can get them for me. Bro, I don't have a Mirror Force, but I can negate a Mirror Force, set it to my field. I have Mirror Force now. So that's another funny thing, and it's like another thing that just eliminate the arguments people would throw at me. Whatever cards I don't run, Toad can fetch them for me. He'll stick his tongue out, snatch it, take it for me. I love Toad in this deck. He's so broken. The dupe lock is still relevant because now your opponent's going to have to pop dupe with Masterpiece before he can attack, and I'll get a search off of dupe. Dupe does miss timing if you try to use it for Toad's effect. So don't ever tribute your dupe off with Toad and think you're going to get dupe's effect off. Just leave it on the field for the dupe lock. 3 Toads. 3 Opabinia, the MVP of the deck. This is how you go turbo style. Every time I make Opabinia, I'm searching Pikaia to draw 2 and draw more Paleos and keep playing it. Once you make Opabinia, you're going to be able to link summon and go in, all the way in, and go ham. Just go ham, spam. Broken. I love Opabinia so much, and it's not affected by monster effects, which is just a built-in clutch thing. I play 3, I repeat, 3 copies of Anomalocaris. He's just way too important and broken. Opabinia and Anomalocaris are more important than Totally Awesome. I have won games without making a single Toad because every chance I had to make Toad, I chose these 2. I chose Opabinia and Anomalocaris because I love the ultimate setup of playing my traps from hand and never setting them. Every time I play a trap once per turn, so every individual turn on my turn and yours, that one of my traps I play, I'm going to get to draw, and it's going to be a Paleo so I can play it again. Sometimes I've drawn into a Paleo that I really needed. For example, I had like let's say a Book of Moon, right? I've had a Canadia. I activated Canadia, chain trap, and then drew a Hallucinogenia off of Anomalocaris, activated that in damage step, and they didn't know that I drew, I'm sorry, they will know because I think you have to reveal it, but anyways, they're not going to see it coming when you activate this in damage step, and they try to attack over him and their monster dies anyways. It's really, really clutch. I just love the fact that you draw and just keep playing from your hand. Just keep going turbo. But yeah, I'm sorry that I said that because you do actually have to show your opponent the card you draw off of Anomalocaris because they have to know if it's a trap or not. But anyways, he's just so broken. So broken. Anomalocaris is clutch, and during either player's turn, he can snipe, which is just another broken thing. He has the effect that Masterpiece has at no cost and no restriction, basically. You're going to have to detach, of course, so you could say that's the cost, but he doesn't have to do all the extra stuff of banishing. 1 Daigusto Phoenix and 1 Cat Shark. These are the only other 2 rank 2s that I run. Other than that, it's just pure links. I'm running, where's my Missy's at? I'm running 2 Link Spiders. Now, this is the only way that I can link summon in this deck. If I don't have my frogs, of course, and I'm never going to waste my frogs for a Decode Talker. I feel like it's not worth summoning 3 frogs just to summon Decode Talker and then try to get out extra. Nah. So I run the 2 Link Spiders because all the Paleos are actually normal monsters. So when you have a Paleo on the field, you can just literally send it, summon Link, send another one, summon Link, send the 2 Link Spiders to the grave to summon your Missus Radiant, which actually requires 2 Earths. I prefer to go Missy's over Decode Talker, simply because Missy's doesn't have that arrow that's pointing to my opponent, giving him a free zone. And also when Missy's Radiant dies, I can either replace him and put himself back into the extra deck, or I can add another Link Spider from my grave to my extra deck. So that's why I really like Missy's Radiant in this deck. I know that he's not legal yet. This is just for example. I'm not playing Paleos right now until this is legal. So please don't tell me it's not legal. I already know that. I said that myself. But it's going to be legal in 2 more days. And that's when this is going to be really, really broken. The Link Spider combo with Missy's Radiant. Or you can just go Link Spider. And if you have another Paleo, you can still summon Decode Talker because 2 of the monsters have to be effect. The other one can be a normal monster, and it can. So you can send 2 Link Spiders and a Paleozoic and still bring out Decode. But he's my least favorite. I prefer to go Missy's. And these are the 4 links that I'm running for now. And it's so easy to do it. And it's the reason why I want these is because I want my setup of Anomalocaris and Opabinia, which is 2 clutch, 2 OP. That sums up my deck profile, you guys. And this is to show you guys that Paleozoics are not dead. People have been sleeping them. They've gotten so many write-offs. Paleos have never been touched on the ban lists. And people just can't seem to get the full power of this deck. It's like a seasonal thing. People play Paleos and it's the top deck for like 2 weeks. Then 2 weeks later, people are saying, oh, Paleos are trash. Everybody's saying now that Paleos are trash because Masterpiece can make himself unaffected by monsters and traps, and he can chain on your opponent's turn to disrupt your chain link so you don't get a trap out. I'm playing pure paleos, you guys. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. Whatever you want to say it. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Be sure to check out Gerard's Card Gaming. It's an amazing place. It's so fun. They're very fair with their prices. They sell below retail, and you'll get good deals there. And you'll also have a lot of fun, and you'll get to meet your boy 3 Stacks over there because I go to that locals on Thursdays. But yeah, I'll be hearing from y'all soon, and stay tuned for the update on my Lyrilisks, my Prediction Princesses, and my Herald of Perfection. I have a new variant for you guys. Peace out.